Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Soul-u-tions podcast. Today, I am a little worn out and my voice is a little overused, I would say. I am recording this the Tuesday after the Masters. You're going to hear this on about April the 23rd. But we were cheering all weekend long and talking and singing and all the fun things. So please excuse my voice today. But I didn't want to let any more time get between me and you in the recording studio. And I have some really cool things that I want to share with you today. So they involve being an inconvenient woman, the Buddha, Jesus, and the month of May, which is also known as Mayhem. How about that for a teaser? Come on, listen to the intro, and I'll see you on the other side.
Einstein said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." Most everyone in the world is solving their problems the wrong way. Our problems come from our thinking, and we can solve them with our thinking. So whether you're at your lowest, just trying to grow, or whether you are trying to sustain growth over your lifetime, join us as we push the boundaries of our current thinking and redefine how we find Soul-u-tions.
The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibility.
Well, today I am kind of threading a needle of some ideas that I wanted to share with you. And first, I'm going to start out with this idea of flexibility, which really isn't what the subject matter is going to be. But I was supposed to interview someone today, and we ended up rescheduling because of some technical difficulties. Her name is Julie Hilson, if you want to check her out. And she has a podcast called Life of Love, and was someone whom I connected with through a member of the Soul-u-tions Labs. So I can't wait for you to hear that interview. But when I'm talking about flexibility, we all have certain plans in life on a day-to-day basis, and our human brains love certainty. But life is very, very uncertain. And the whole purpose of this podcast is to help you learn how to navigate life's uncertain moments without losing your mind. And we do that by really connecting deeply with that soul-centered version of ourselves, so that we don't need the world to conform to our pre-existing ideas of how it's supposed to unfold in order to feel like we're in control, or that things are balanced, or that things are in order. Truly, I think one of the things that we get to use life's uncertainty for as a teacher is to help us begin to turn inward and to find that stable center within ourselves. And that's a real holy place. And I think that is a place that is where we can find God and find love. And that is the stability and the groundedness that we become in a world that is outwardly chaotic. Now, this is going to tie into what we are going to talk about today. So this is dropping April the 23rd-ish, and in the month of May, I'm going to be doing a challenge called May is for Metta. It's going to be a Metta prayer challenge for the month of May. And I've picked this specifically because May is an outrageously busy month for people who have kids and kids with lots of year-end activities. And in particular, May is also the home of Mother's Day. My grandmother always said, why in the world did they pick May to celebrate Mother's Day? Because all mothers are running around, with their hair on fire, trying to get all the things done in that month. And to try to squeeze one more thing into the month feels absolutely impossible. And yet I am going to invite you, ask you, and implore you to do a challenge with me in May. And the reason why I'm doing this is because May is so chaotic. And for just the same reasons that I was sharing with you about life being full of uncertainty and learning to use that uncertainty to help us to redirect us inward and to challenge us to find our very grounded and centered self in order to be the calm in the chaos of the world, to be the calm within our communities, to be the calm within our families, and to experience yourself as that grounded, centered, calm person who is available to help provide shelter in the storm for everyone else who's running around a little crazy. I just so happened to be able to take this for a test drive just over the last week with the Masters here in Augusta. We host a lot of family and people from out of town, and it is nonstop. But this practice, which is one of the many practices that we rely on and we use and we revisit in the Soul-Shine Labs, is a practice that is intended to help support us during these crazy times. Now, it is going to be uncomfortable for you. And you may even be thinking, Tara, this is absolutely impossible. There is no way that I can find even an extra 5 minutes for myself on a daily basis in the month of May. Like, that is humanly impossible. I have absolutely no minutes in my day because it is all going to be used on other people and keeping the balls in the air, as well as the regular stuff that you have to do in a regular month. And I'm going to say it is just because May is that crazy that you really have to make time for this 5-minute practice each and every day. And we're not in the shame game here. And so if you can't do it every day, even if you did it one day or every other day or once a week, strive to hit the mark every day. Strive to hit that mark every day. But if you don't beat up on yourself. You're not going to do it at all if you don't put it on your calendar and strive to do it every day. But if you do put it on your calendar daily, go ahead right now on April the 23rd or whenever you're listening to this in that last week of April, I want you to just think, what is a time for me that it's easy to give myself 5 minutes? If you can't think of a moment, like for me, it's when I have my coffee. It could be I don't have to commute in a car. I happen to live in the neighborhood where my office is, so I get to have a walk. But it could be on your walk. It could be on your driving commute. It could be at lunch, I used to do this when we were at St. Jude's, and it was always very, very hectic there. And if I went to have lunch by myself, I used this while I was eating my lunch. So it is designed for you to be able to use it in any moment and to even stack it on another activity. And I have another friend who says this. This friend is Mel Robbins. She doesn't know that we are great friends, but we are really, really good friends. And so Mel Robbins says, if you have time to scroll through social media, you have time to do something for your mental and emotional and spiritual well-being. So I'm just saying that again, not for guilt, but like if you are scrolling in the month of May and you've heard me say this, your brain is going to automatically remind you the moment that you start scrolling, it's going to remind you and start to tickle you and say, hey, there's something I'm supposed to associate with scrolling. And then it's going to go, oh yeah, that Soul-u-tions podcast that I listened to of Tara's, it said that I could do the meta prayer. So I'm going to just switch from scrolling to doing this meta prayer practice. And if you are scrolling on social media and you are scrolling on Instagram, when you do remember this, all you have to do is go to @Soul-Shine-Labs and go to my bio and hit the link in bio and click Meta Prayer Challenge. Bing, you are in. Okay, so let's talk about a few things. I'm going to talk a little bit about one of my favorite influencers, child psychologists, coaches in the world. And this is Dr. Becky from Dr. Becky Good Inside. And if you are in my world, my Soul-Shine Labs world, my Soul-u-tions podcast world, or if you've worked with me, you know that I really admire Dr. Becky's work and introduce all of my clients who are parents to her work. I think she's doing great stuff in the world of parenting. And kind of parenting adjacent world, she hits and intersects with the work that I do with grown ups. And that is the work of reparenting yourself and learning how to be kind to yourself. So she did an entire podcast episode on the quote unquote good girl. And out of that episode came this concept of being an inconvenient woman. And you can listen to this. It's her episode, the Good Inside episode 195. It says, "Don't pardon me. I'm an inconvenient woman." And in that particular episode, Dr. Becky dives into embracing the role of the inconvenient woman. What begins with a simple, I want my coffee one way moment evolves into a powerful realization, identifying, owning, and articulating our desires as women can be incredibly uncomfortable. So Dr. Becky encourages all self-identifying good girls to reflect on what they truly want for themselves and to embrace the inconvenience that comes with pursuing it. Okay, let's just take a breath there. We all receive socialization as children to be a good girl or to be a good boy. And we all really work hard at embodying that good girl and that good boy. And truly, we love showing up as a good girl and a good boy. But, and we talk about this a lot in the Soul-Shine Labs, there comes a point in every person's adult life where you have to shift your focus from this this identification with being this outwardly good girl or good boy, to being seen as a good girl or good boy, or fulfilling the expectations other people have for you of being a good girl and good boy in order to be a good man and a good woman. It's just that, the strategy and the skill set of being a good young person and the skill set and the responsibilities needed to be a good adult are very different skill sets, because as children, we don't have a lot of responsibilities. And as adults, we do. We're out there in this crazy world. We're not as protected from it. We have to figure out how to not only live through uncertain times, but to navigate them and to somehow use them to become stronger and to thrive, even though we have to face them. And so as an adult, in order to do that, we have to be willing to inconvenience other people so that we can take care of ourselves. And this is truly an uncomfortable thing to have to figure out how to do, but it's uncomfortable in our bodies because we aren't used to inconveniencing other people. And in fact, we have this childlike mentality that if we inconvenience others, that they'll stop loving us or that they'll leave us behind. And there's great reason for that, because you were told that as a child, like, get your shoes on, we're going now, or you're going to be left behind. And the reason why that kind of parenting works is because we are herd animals. And from an evolutionary standpoint, just imagine this. You're traveling in a herd out in the wild open. And if you are left behind, that really means you probably are not going to survive. So to have that reinforced as a child in your parenting, get your shoes on or we're going to leave you behind, it like makes you get going so that you don't inconvenience or slow the grown-ups down in your life. But we don't take the time to stop, just to stop and say, oh, wait a second. I'm the grown-up now. I'm the one with the responsibilities. And I need to kind of reorganize or rearrange in my brain how I can be of service in my family, right? How I can show up as the husband, the wife, the mother, the father, the daughter, the son, if you have aging parents, how I can show up as at work. Like truly, you begin to see all of these responsibilities and burdens that we bear. And if you do not learn the art of being inconvenient to others so that you can do the jobs that only you can do, then you are going to find yourself burned out, overwhelmed, exhausted, and you're going to find yourself resentful of so many people that you truly love in your life. And I think that it's so helpful when someone like Dr. Becky steps in and she says, we're going to make this a movement to be inconvenient. It's like, it's not just giving you a permission slip, but we're going to get a whole posse of people around to say, hey, we're going to be inconvenient and we're going to embrace this. Now, that doesn't mean we're asking you to be irresponsible. We just want to provide an opportunity for you to take care of yourself. Now, this is where Jesus and the Buddha come in, because for me, I always if I am going to give myself permission to be inconvenient for others, I personally need it to have such meaning to it that I am willing to take that hit of daring to be inconvenient to other people because I know the payoff on the other side is going to be bigger. And so I have to look for permission beyond, Dr. Becky. And so I'm like, oh, Jesus says that to love your neighbor as yourself. This is like one of his greatest commandments. Love your neighbor as yourself. And I remember in my mid-30s when I was first coming to this work and feeling so lost and overwhelmed by all the things because I had been that good girl and I wasn't happy. And then I ran across a philosophy book of my husband's from college from Immanuel Kant. And it has this, this commandment, love your neighbor as yourself, presupposes that you know how to love yourself and that you already love yourself. And I was like, what is this? Is this the missing piece? Because I was trying to love everybody and I was putting everybody above myself. And I was exhausted. I was burned out. And I had become extremely resentful, especially of my husband and of other people who were really close to me. Like, I'd have to admit, like, even my children, sometimes I was resentful of this role of mother and all these other roles. Like, I just couldn't do it all. And this was such a lifeline for me to see, I don't know how to love myself outside of loving others. And it challenged me to learn how to love myself because all I knew was that I couldn't continue to go forward doing what I was doing, which was loving others without loving myself or without knowing how to do that. Now we're going to shift to the Buddha because I really think that there is, all of the answers in the world are inside of us. And that there's so many teachers. And if we can listen for this message, if I can hear this same message in Dr. Becky, Jesus, and the Buddha, I'm like, oh, this is so helpful. All of these pieces, right? We're all working together toward this big goal. And so the interesting thing about the Buddha is that he developed this metta prayer, which is just a form of prayer, a form of loving kindness. And prior to being the Buddha, he was just a man, Siddhartha, who'd gone out there and kind of the same stuff we're talking about here. He looked around the world, is happiness out here? And he found that there was so much suffering in the world, right? We're talking about uncertainty, chaos, suffering, all of these things. And that the way through it was this inward path, just like what Jesus talks about, right? Of taking the time to be centered, taking this time for prayer. And the reason why I act like I'm a doctor here, why I officially prescribe the metta prayer for women is because of the design of this prayer, which is first, there's this direction of using the self as the subject of the prayer first. And you know how in Dr. Becky's little blurb I read how she says that it's so uncomfortable to have needs beyond, oh, I'd like, just a little dash of cream in my coffee. But to have other desires and wants is so uncomfortable for us. And so I think when you practice the metta prayer and you have to like send loving kindness to yourself first as the subject before anybody else, it feels uncomfortable to do that because you've been so trained to be outwardly extending it to others. But this is how we get back to that teaching of loving your neighbor as yourself. Like you really have to feel the love for yourself before you can extend it to everyone else, to outward in these little circles. And so by taking 5 minutes a day in May to join us in the Meta Prayer Challenge, you are going to just be able to experience just a tiny bit of discomfort because A, you're going to think you don't have enough time. And B, you're going to think and have the urge and the sense of urgency that you have to do a million other things before you can do this for you. And C, you're just not practiced in putting yourself at the center here. But when you can really do the math to say, if I don't learn how to do this, I am going to be burned out. I am going to be exhausted and I am going to be resentful. And when I feel all of those things, I am not of use and cannot be of service to anyone else. So this is like the peace treaty that allows me to show up as that highest version of myself in caring for others. And May's the month that you are going to be caring for so many other people and that their needs are going to be so great. And everybody's going to decide that there needs to be an end of the year recital and sports banquet and class party. And the more children you have, it's just going to be an exponential thing. But taking 5 minutes every day to be still and to come back to yourself and to give yourself first some loving kindness. Now, don't you worry about a thing because you're not going to have to do it alone. You're going to be doing it with me. You're going to be doing it with a community of women. All you have to do right now is go to tarasimkins.com and sign up for my mailing list. And when you sign up, all you have to do is you just put your first name, your last name, and your email address in there. Then you're going to get the invitation to join us for the Meta Prayer Challenge. And hey, doesn't matter when you hear this podcast. We were just talking about divine timing in here, how that earlier interview that was supposed to be recorded today is going to be recorded later in May. And we thread this needle with this particular topic. Like that is divine timing, trusting that you find the thing that you need at the time that you need it. So this is one of my go-to things. So just sign up for my email list, Tara Simkins, no P, TaraSimkins.com and sign up for my email list. It's going to be right there. And then you'll get access to this 30-day Meta Prayer Challenge. We're going to do some fun things on it. We'll be going live every day. If you're doing this in real time with us, you'll receive an email every day with links to the recording that leads you through this Meta Prayer. And I promise you will feel like that moment of centeredness, that moment of groundedness that you think you don't have enough time for. But when you take it, you are going to go into your day as that calm center within the chaos, within the storm of the day, within everybody talking about mayhem. You're going to have this warmth in your heart. It's like, I don't feel that out of control this May. Something feels different here, and I like it. And it isn't that hard. It's actually pretty easy. It's just nobody ever told me that I could do this before or that it could be this easy before. And you're going to be an example of a possibility that people have already written off in their lives. And now I'm going to go back to the Masters because the champion is Rory McIlroy, and he was supposed to be this boy wonder, and he came out and won all these majors by the age of 25 or 24 was his last major until this year at the age of 35. And for 11 years, he has been working toward, getting a green jacket and completing the career Grand Slam. And for 11 years, people have said with each passing year that it was less and less and less possible, when in fact, it was just becoming more and more and more possible, right? With each year, he was getting closer to that moment. And everybody else thought he was getting further away from that moment. I mean, really think about it. Our brains play tricks on us and things get out into the ethers and everybody says the same thing. And then the next thing you know, everybody thinks the same thing. Mayhem doesn't have to be mayhem for you. May can be a glorious month, a month where we celebrate mothers and a month where you have an opportunity to celebrate all of the things that everybody did in the previous year and the growth that we've experienced and the summer that's ahead. And so the only thing missing is you in the equation, a well-centered, a well-grounded, and a calm you, one who knows how to love herself and that the amount of love that she has for herself is equal to the love that she can give to others. It's the only thing missing, my friends. So I hope you'll join us for the Meta Challenge, 30 days in May. And then I look forward to talking to you in the next Solutions podcast and in bringing Julie on for maybe 2 podcasts from now. Have a great day. Thank you again. And please, please, please share this episode with a friend. Go ahead and get your buddy in on this Meta Challenge, like an accountability. We need to do this together. Let's not let this May be just another May where we'll all go crazy. Let's believe that we're going to get closer to the possibility of having a calm May. All right. Until next time, thank you.
'Cause I ain't done living the life I'm meant to lead. And I ain't done loving the ones who cared for me. The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibilities. The left and the right and some faith in the fight, and your courage is all